Good morning, everybody. We Paddy from across the shuck, and I'm coming at you with it was going to be a one-part video, but it's going to be a lockdown ramble, a rant, a little chat, and where my channel's at and where I think it's going to go. There you go. It could go on a while, but the point of the video, I was sitting down and I was doing a couple of wee notes in this knife, and I was going to review this knife because I hadn't done a full review on it yet, and I've had it since about Christmas time. And look, that knife's going to sit there in that position because I just think that is one of the most beautiful knives that I have seen. I think it is just stunning. Shape-wise, it just really, really appeals to me. And there's not many knives that you get where you just look at them and you think, oh, I love the look of that knife. And I when I'm looking at something like that, I'm not thinking of its functionality. I'm not thinking of the materials it's made of. I'm not thinking about a whole lot of things that I should be thinking of because I'm going to make a purchase that's $190. Is that rational? No, because I'm a knife collector, because I'm a knife reviewer, because I'm a knife, whatever name you want to give me. As long as it's to do with knives, I'll take that name because at least part of what you're calling me, I am. And I'm not just a one thing. And most of us are not just one-trick ponies. Most of us actually really, really like knives. And that's why we started doing this. And we can all venture off and we can become videographers. We can become really knowledgeable about steels. We can become really knowledgeable about maintenance. We all have different places that we go to. But at the end of the day, when you're making YouTube videos, if you don't have that just basic like, or just something that sends all them bells going inside you saying, that is beautiful. Now, I want lots of knives, but I don't buy lots of knives. And that's the budget restraint that I'm under. And that's absolutely fine because it actually makes it quite exciting when I get something like this. The overload that's in my head, the brain, what I think of the knife, it just amplifies. Because most of the time when I buy an expensive knife, I've given it so much thought before I buy it. I've done so many things in my head that makes me want to get something that expensive is already formulated when the knife comes. So am I going to dislike it? Very, very rarely am I going to dislike it because I have watched so many video reviews and I have a selection of people that I use. And this is going to be a rambling video, I'm sorry. Yesterday, I sat down for 5.5 hours. I didn't move. Well, other than to go to the toilet and get up and fetch my tea, and my poor wife ran after me the whole day. But what I'd done for 5.5 hours, I sat in my front room at a town hall meeting. This is run by Bob DeMarco and it's called the Knife Junkie Podcast. And I'm going to link it down below because if you've got 5.5 hours or break it up into segments, it was one of the most interesting knife days I've had, I think, ever. Because he had about 20 guests on it, from high-end knife makers to knife reviewers. It was just knife people who sat in a room and chatted for 5 hours, and it was interactive. It was just amazing. I hope he does one. I know he couldn't do that physically every week, but I would love it like a once every 3 months he does a town hall, because I was transfixed. It was just brilliant. And the organisation through him and Jim behind the camera was just amazing for all those who contributed to it. I mean, we had Slicey, Dicey, Super Steel Steve. We had one of the Ferrum Forge brothers. There was a mix and match of people. Tashi Brusha was the only one. He was supposed to be on it too. But there was just so many makers and ones that I hadn't heard of. But listening to them all chatting was just me. That was my bunch of friends who I've never met in a physical sense. But yesterday, I got to have a chat with them and interact. It was just amazing. In fact, I didn't do a lot of interacting because I was so transfixed because the questions were good. The answers were good. It flowed lovely. I can't get it. It was just brilliant. Anyway, I'll put that down below. The knife that I'm going to talk about today is the Thresher, and then I'm maybe going to drift off after that. So you can pick out what you want. I don't know how to do time on it and denotations when you can go and see it. So I'll do the knife now, and then I'll chat on afterwards. Look, this is a Gavco knife, and it's the Thresher, and he names his knives after sharks. So this is after the Thresher shark with a big black eye. But that Bowie-shaped blade is just amazing. The handle, everything about it just gets me. It really does get me. And I'll run through you some of the specs for it. Let's start with the blade. I'll take that wee magnet off there. There's the blade thickness, and it comes down to a really good point. It's 4 millimeters, 0.16 of an inch thick. The length of the blade, 3.6 inches, and that's all cutting. It comes right down to the back, 9.1 centimeters. The handle length is 4.5 inches, 11.5 centimeters. The overall length is 8 inches. Perfect. It looks bigger, but it's not. It looks like it's moving, but it's not. It's just, it does get me. The weight of it is 5.1 ounces for a full titanium. I mean, with a titanium backspacer that is gorgeous. The inside of it, I don't even think it's milled. I don't even look. No, it's not milled at all. So 5 ounces, absolutely fine. It's got a titanium milled pocket clip, which is absolutely amazing. Brilliant. And the retention on it's great. It's not completely deep carry, but there we go. It's S35 VN steel. It's made by We. It's a Gavco design from his range of knives, which are amazing. Something you really want to check out if you haven't. It's a flat sabre grind or a sabre flat grind, whichever way you want to put it. I said it was S35 VN. It's a frame lock. It's got the thumb stud, a big thumb stud deployment. It has an action which is just to die for. And for that price of knife, it's just amazing. It's got a ceramic detent ball, the titanium backspacer, would have said, milled titanium pocket clip. It's got a hardened steel lock bar. It's got everything you need in a high-end knife. The only thing I don't like is these little tiny things here. Now, I don't take my knives a lot apart unless they really need to. I'll blow them out, I'll oil them, I'll look after them, but I don't take them apart. But I don't like them tiny little screws. That's the only thing that I never noticed when I was buying it. Now, would it have put me off? Absolutely not. Not whatsoever. But it is the only thing that I don't like about it. And if that's all, that'll do me, because when you buy something, you're at the luck of your eyes, and I think that's what I'm going to talk about later on. But anyhow, let's just set that back down again. The action you just seen there is amazing. It's something that you want to sit and play with. It's something that, does it cut? Absolutely. It's really quite fine behind the edge, let me tell you. It is a beautiful, beautiful blade, beautifully ground. We just do a good job of Gavco's design. I mean, I'm sure he was over the moon when he seen it. And for the price, $190, is that a reasonable price for this knife? Yeah, it is a reasonable price on what's out there at the moment. And we have to, again, I'm always conscious of this, and I bought it, so I must have thought it was worth it. But it's Chinese, and how much markup is on that before we actually get it? And that's always going to be the thing in this community. When you're buying the Chinese knife, what's the markup behind it? Are we getting a bit ripped off compared to an American made? There's no doubt that it will be. There's no doubt, because it's funny, Greg Medford was on yesterday. There's another great name to throw in. And he was talking, and you know what he's like. He's pro-American. So he is. He's American, and he should be proud of who he is and what he makes, and whatever the price cost is. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. I love that philosophy. And if we had more in the UK doing that, we'd have knife companies still going, but we didn't. We let it go. We dropped the ball. Again, I'm not talking about custom makers. I'm talking about knife companies, knife business, knife steel, Sheffield steel companies that are all gone to the wall because they didn't promote, and it's still the same now. I've gone off. I'll come back to that again later. Look, this knife, is it everything that I wanted it to be? It really genuinely is. It is beautiful in hand. It cuts lovely. I haven't used it a whole lot, to be honest with you. I haven't cut a whole lot with it. It's something I take out probably once every couple of days and just sit and play with it at night time. Usually when Sally's gone to bed, I'll get this out and I'll flick it, because my flicking does her head in. Where have you heard that before? But I'm going to give you some size comparisons of some other knives. Here is, oh, that was a really well flicked out knife. There's the rat one. The rat one's a wee bit bigger in handle, but not in cutting length. The cutting length is getting beat by the Thresher, but full length, it's just a bit different. A bit longer. Here's another knife I haven't had out for ages. And again, this is something I'm going to go back to. This is what started all this off. There's the Reich, the Fang it was called. It's about 3-year-old knife. It was when I first really got into Reich knives. I don't have a whole lot of big knives, as you know. Well, I didn't have it, more now. But this knife, look at that. Look at that. I mean, this... I can remember seeing JT with this. He was on holiday down at his parents', I think, and I can remember seeing that and thinking, oh, that is the best knife I've ever seen. It was beautiful. It was sculpted G10, which was just at the start of it. It had a huge big blade with a flat grind, thin behind the edge, just an amazing slicer. But the action is just, I haven't oiled that in probably 2 years. There you go. About 2 years since I've oiled that. Look at that. That's a Reich. It was about 35 quid. I can't even remember what price it was, but it's a beautiful, beautiful knife. Putting it down against something like that makes me think, that's why I love my budget end knives as well, because you can get bargains. All right, is it as good as this? Will I take it out as much as this? Definitely not. Definitely not. But it's a knife that I love and I take out and I use every now and then. Functionality-wise, here's the big Cold Steel Code 4. Bigger knife overall, shorter in the blade again. So you're getting a lot of blade with this. For an 8-inch knife, it's a lot of blade. It's 3.6 ounces cutting edge. That's a lot for an 8-inch knife. I love that about it. Really do. Because functionally, it's every bit as good as it is artistically. There's the Code 4, a bit bigger, good, big, solid work knife. Would this do everything this would do? Absolutely it would. But does it look as good? No. It just doesn't look as good. That's classic art. This is functional, thin, slimline pocket. You're getting a big blade, a work knife. And here's our old favourite. There's the Spyderco. Oh, this is a typical paddy, Para 2. Typical paddy, my head goes blank half the time. There's the Para 2 beside it. I think it's about 1/4 of an inch bigger lengthwise, but cutting wise, look at the difference. You got over 1/2 inch difference in the cutting blade. But again, a beautiful knife, a lovely looking knife. Does it look as nice? No, sorry, it just doesn't. Is it better fidget friendly? No, that's just as good. But it's a lovely, lovely knife. And here we go. Here's my big baby. There's my Greg Medford, and it's the Slim Mini Marauder. Cutting length is way shorter, again 1/2 inch shorter in the cutting length, but lengthwise they're absolutely identical. Does this look more attractive than this? Do you want to know something? In my eyes it does. I love this Medford, and I know it's a silly price, and it's over 2 times the price of that, but I love it. I love the look of it. This is more this is like an action knife, and this is artwork. I can't think of a way just off the top of my head now, but this is a functional working knife that you want to go and beat. That's a piece of art that I can look and fondle and play with. Sorry, I hope my... but yes, I love this as well. So, that's the knife, an absolutely beautiful knife. I'll set some of these down now as just eye candy to sit with it. I'll put this up on a wee magnet too because I just want to, because I can sit and look at it just as much as you can. So there are 2 of my high-end folders that's in my collection that are absolutely lovely. This is some of the other bigger knives. And when I started, I didn't really get on with bigger knives. They were not something I particularly wanted. I liked the small 7-inch knife, and I still do for everyday use, like that small 7-inch knife. But now here's where my rant is going to go off. It's not a rant, sorry, it's not an angry rant. It's just thinking about your channel, and whether it's the lockdown and it makes you think about where you're going, where you've been, and what you want to go to. Look, I started as a budget channel. There's no hidden there. Both me and Sally are on pension, so I don't have a whole lot of excess money. Last year I had the extra money and I bought knives like these two, that I bought them for my channel so that I'd have the high end right down through to the budget. And that's what I wanted. And I was very selective about what I bought, because financially I have to be selective. I don't go out and buy all the brand new knives that come out. One, I don't want to, because that's not my type of reviewing. I review knives that I like. And if I don't like them, they're either moved on or they go away and giveaways. So the knives that I keep, sadly I keep too many, it's because I like them. Do you know, like that that rook or rake or whatever you want to call it. I mean, that's 3-year-old now, but it's just a beautiful, beautiful knife. So it stays in my collection because I like it, because I take them out, I fondle them and play with them like other knife addicts do. But my channel has changed. I'm not a budget channel anymore. And that sort of hit home, because I quite like that, oh, Paddy's a budget channel. I'm not a budget channel because I've invested an awful lot of my my time and money in buying higher end knives. And I'd be very fortunate with subscribers who have donated higher end knives to my channel. So my collection, although I have a boatload of budget blades about this house and in boxes and in front of me here, I have loads of them. And a lot of them I'll never get rid of because they're functional, they're good. And if I want to batter something, they're the ones I'm going to do. I'm not going to batter that. I have battered this, but that's because that's a different function than this. And that's what I'm sort of trying to talk about. Yes, I like my budget knives. Yes, I will keep reviewing them. But I'm not doing them on as much of a regular basis that I used to. And I'm sorry for those that maybe that's what they want to see all the time. It's never going to be like that because I'm a knife addict. And my thought process has changed an awful lot. I mean, I love having higher end knives. Absolutely love it. I'd be lying through my teeth saying if I was doing it just for the channel. I'm not. I'm doing it for my collection because I am a collector now. And I'm saying that, and I don't mean that in a boastful sort of a way. I invest my money, my spare money, not the house money, my spare money in the knives. And I enjoy them and I love them. But am I the same collector when I'm started? And what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull this drawer out. This is unscripted. There you go. I have a boatload of higher end, a lot of GEC, Shatton Morgan, Queen knives. They're all knives that are legal here in the UK that I use, collect and love. But a lot of them are over £100 a knife for a small 3-inch slip joint, which I know a lot of knife collectors don't go down the avenue of slip joints, but I do because I live in a country where they're legal. These I can carry in certain places. We'll just leave it at that. But they I can carry legally anywhere at any time. So they have now, they became by default, if you like. I never started collecting slip joints. I always had them. I've always had a few, but now I've actually got into them in a big way. The sad part about it for me is that, and we were talking about that yesterday on the thing, I'm from the UK, so when I'm buying knives, I don't have to think, oh, is that USA made, or is that, Italian, or is that European, whatever. I just buy the knife because I like it. And I think that's an advantage, probably being an outside of the US, because the US is our biggest YouTube family, if you like. So, and I can understand them being loyal, and for those that are loyal, good on you, well done. And I do appreciate that. That loyalty thing is good. But I'm not from the US, so I can buy knives from anywhere. I would buy more knives from the UK if our UK knife makers were good enough, consistent enough, and want to put themselves out there. We have a weird mentality in the UK, and I'm not doing this to run down the UK. I'm an ex-serviceman. I'm a royalist. I love my country, and I would do anything for my country. But I'm talking about just knife makers. The time that I've been around 3.5 years making videos, and the time before that I watched videos, I have seen very, very few UK makers who have gone out of their way to get on YouTube, that have gone out of their way to pick a channel. Not just me. I've reached out to I don't know how many. I had one custom dealer, Michael May. He also makes knives in a different form that they sell as tourist pieces. But, because he's from Sheffield and people go to Sheffield and want to buy a knife, he has that market, and that's fine. But I put his name forward. I bought his knives and I put them forward. And I know a boatload of people from the UK, Europe, and America, and probably beyond, who bought his knives and might say so. And I loved that. But then I started to get issues with them not being as good as they should have been for the price. And that disappointed me. I tried to contact him. He never got back to me. And I contacted him through Instagram. And if you've got a knife company and you're selling things, you need to be on Instagram, because that's where it's at. That's where people contact you. That's where I contacted him first to get my knife. And I wasn't chasing him. But I tried contacting him, and he never, ever got back to me and I stopped. I'm not in the business of chasing somebody. If you want me to promote your stuff, as long as it's good, I'll do it. And the first couple of knives I got off him were good. Then I heard other people having problems, and that really hurt me and disappointed me. For them to spend the money, because again, his knives are over £100, or maybe slightly under, some of them, but it really disappointed me. And I have yet to have a UK knife company come and say, Paddy, would you like to put one on your channel? Or, I'll sell it to you at cost if you want to put it on. I would do it. I would buy them. If I had one that was interested at all, I would buy full price and put it on, especially if it's a custom maker, because you have to back your custom makers. But I've had none. I've had plenty of other companies from America, from China, who have offered me things to do with their knives. And that's been lovely. But again, that's my little rant over with. It just annoys me that the UK, their knife community is dying. Well, it's basically died, to be honest, apart from somebody like me who collects knives and is on YouTube. But where I'm going now. Yeah, it annoys me. So I can understand when Greg gets a bit uppity about people buying the cheap Chinese knives. I mean, I buy them. And I bought them especially in the beginning because that's where I could get them. I didn't know about the other, even knife shops here, because there's none. There's no proper knife shop in Northern Ireland. There you go. None. There is a couple of sporting shops that maybe sell, just basic slip joints. And when I mean basic, I mean very, very basic shops in Northern Ireland. So I don't have that. I don't have the buy-in ability here, so I have to reach out to other places. Where was I going? Do you know, sometimes I rattle on here and I haven't a clue where I'm going. None of this is scripted. There's not one note down here. I just go off on one. But look, yeah, I suppose the thing that I'm trying to get to is, yes, my channel has changed. I love the fact that I still have retained, and they have been the most loyal people in my channel, is the budget crowd. And I love yous, and yous have just been my backbone. And they've all stuck with me right through, even though I've changed and I now do buy higher quality knives. And not all the time. Most of my knives are mid-range to low range. But I do now get the chance, and I save and I buy a specific piece. And is it for the channel? No, they're for me. They go on my channel, but a lot of these high-end knives, these high-end knives are for me. They're mine. They're my little babies. They're part of my collection, and I enjoy sharing them with you, if that makes any sense. But they're not channel bought. They're Stephen bought. They're Paddy bought. They're what I want in my collection. And I have built up a range now from the very high end to the high end to the medium to the budget. And I have that whole range, and I enjoy every bit of the range. So if that's what you're looking for, if you just knew about, and I know that half the people that watch our videos are not subscribed to us, but if you're one of that half of the people that are not subscribed and you want a complete varied knife collection, and somebody who enjoys from £5 knives to £500 knives. That's what I've got. And that's part of my YouTube persona. But I'm now starting to buy knives that I want for me and my GECs, my Queens, my Shatton Morgans. They're the ones that bring me the joy that I can carry, use, or even if I don't use them, they're in my box. I can take them out and look at them. So yes, my channel has changed. I'm not a budget channel anymore. And I think I'm going to, anywhere I've got it wrote down, I'm going to start to change that, because that's only honest and fair that I do that, because people come along and expect budget. It's not budget all the time. Now, yes, I do have budget. Look, there's budget knife, right? There's the Rat 1, one of the best budget. This is an Oz 8. I think Steve Cleaver gave me this, but this is an Oz 8. This is one of the best working knives. Is it a fidget-friendly knife? No, it shoots out well. It's the most lovely thwack when you open a Rat 1. It is beautiful. You can sneak up on it. It is an amazing tool. Is it attractive? No. I don't find it attractive. I find it very comfortable in the hand. I find it very ergonomic. I find it easy to work with, slice things, cut things, pry with. It's used for everything. That's what makes that knife, not the beauty pageant that this is to me, although this is not an attractive swan. This is a high-end rugby player. This is a beauty queen. So the descriptions are not very good. Sometimes I wish it was Metal Complex or Slicey who have the vocabulary to cover their knives, but I don't. I have a very basic vocabulary and I know what I like, and I'm now being able to get what I like, and I'm having a ball. I hope that comes across my channel. But I suppose I'm just trying to say is I'm not just a budget channel anymore. I feel as if I have, through patience, perseverance, watching, learning, being part of a community that have encouraged, that have nurtured my knowledge in knife, although it doesn't come across when I speak. But I have some sort of knowledge inside. I can tell you what I like, what I don't like. If you give me something I don't like, I'm going to tell you I don't like it. If you give me something I like, I'm going to rave about it. And I'll be honest enough to come back to you if I've made a mistake. So, what is my channel? What is my channel? It's just a bit of everything. It's a bit of everything with my collection, my own personal collection, becoming more higher end, although slip joints are not particularly high end. I mean, 100 is not what a lot of people call high end. When I first started, the thought of spending £100 on a knife was abhorrent. I just couldn't think of doing that. Now, it's mid-range, 100 to 150 is mid-range for knives. And even I think like that now, which is a difference from somebody who bought £15 knives, and to buy a £50 knife I thought was expensive. I had to justify why I was buying that knife at 50. So times have changed, things have changed. One, I got my pension through, which is extra on top of other money I have, which is lovely, and it gives me the ability to do that. I'm very fortunate. And there's a lot of fortunate people in this community. But you want to know something? They may be fortunate, they may have what you haven't got, but the joy of YouTube is they share it. It's not kept in their wee drawer. This is my money, this is my knife. It's shared. And that's the part of the community that yesterday really hit home to me when I sat for 5.5 hours and watched a whole host of knife people, some who I agree with, some who I didn't know, some who I admire to nearly worshipping. But they were all on there, and Alex Dussault and Stasa, who I started with. Alex, who's a custom. I would never get to talk to Alex if it wasn't for something like that. His knife collection is really high end, and they're beautiful, and I love watching them. I love seeing what he's got. Am I ever going to get there? I don't know that even if I had... I don't know. I'm not even going to say that because I've no idea. Life has changed so much in the last 3.5 years. I don't think I could guess what it's going to be like in another 3.5 years. Do I see me still making videos in another 3.5 years? Absolutely, because I love that part of it. I love that part of the community that we can share what we've got. For me to have all these knives in a box over there that Sally doesn't like, that my kids have no interest in, I can't get any of them interested in knives. I got one for a while, but it's gone. So it's just me with a box full of knives. Yes, I love them, and yes, I go on, but sharing them is the passion that YouTube brings, and sharing them, YouTube is the passion that brought me into knife collecting, and I now think, rather than just a budget collector, I'm not anymore. I am a collector now. I have high-end knives, I have low-end, I have medium, I have everything in between, and to me, that balance is something that I want to keep. I hope that doesn't change too much. But I will, I am going to collect more and more traditional slip joints, because that is now my overriding passion. I have a beautiful one coming next week. Please stay tuned to watch. It is stunning. But I'll still be buying the rest, and I'll still be reviewing the rest. So anyway, Paddy had a wee go off on the rails. But I just wanted to sort of clarify for those who don't know me, and I've been very conscious of, do I count subs when they come in? Yes. Do I like the fact that they've got 6,000, nearly 500 now? Yes, I love that fact, that I have people who watch my videos on a regular basis. That is just a joy. I'd be stupid saying I didn't like it. Do I put my thoughts of the knives that I'm buying on the subs? No, because I can't buy for 6,500 people. They all have completely different views now. So what I do is I buy for what I want. And thankfully, there's a lot out there that like that. And that's the joy. It's just lovely. I have a complete mixture of subs. And, do I want more? Yes, because the more the better. The more challenge it is to come up with something. At the minute, I'm doing one a day, videos. But the challenge it is, and we just started the podcast where the subs were buying the knives, we're reviewing them. It broke my heart that we can't get on with that. I still have a prize to give away, but I can't get to the shop to get the t-shirt made. I can't, all them things with this coronavirus has wrecked that, but it'll not be long. It'll not be long. What it does is give me a chance to sit down for 31 minutes, 32 minutes, and talk a lot of old twaddle with people who I love, and some I just put up with. Take care, everybody. I have a cup of half-cold tea here. I'm going to go and drink that. Have a wee puff on my puffer. And I'll see you tomorrow with another video. Thanks very much for watching. Take care. That is a gorgeous knife. It's on drop. It's $190. Is it worth it? Definitely. Just lovely. Bye now. Take care.